نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما آمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we will begin with a recap of our last dars as we do as you know regularly at the beginning of our dars. So last week we began with the cases for the daughters. So we went over the cases for the daughters. So the daughters, they have these three ahwals or three case scenarios. They will either receive 1/2 or they will receive 2/3 or they will become asaba, meaning they will become residual shareholder or residuary share will be granted to them in presence of one or more sons. We went, and then after that, we went over the examples for the daughters and some masail relating to the cases of daughters. And after that, we cleared a query regarding the son. Somebody had asked about clarification of the son, why we weren't discussing that, so we went over that as well. And then we also went over the cases for granddaughters. So they will receive either 1/2 or 2/3 or 1/6 in the presence of one daughter, or they will be deprived in the presence of two daughters, or the granddaughters will be deprived in the presence of a son, or in the presence of two or more daughters, there is a paternal grandson, however low in the hierarchy, then that granddaughter will become asaba. So these were the cases that we studied for the granddaughters along with their examples and masail. And then we ended our dars last week with the explanation of blessed son and wretched son, what they are and how they change the equation when a blessed son comes along, and along with the daughter comes the brother of the granddaughter. So, and then how, because of a wretched son, how his sister is deprived of the share. So that's how we ended our dars, and inshallah today we will begin our last category, as we mentioned, of the primary heirs. And today I want to just say, inshallah, the reason my pace is a little bit faster is because we have a lot to cover, and hopefully, inshallah, we are able to cover it all. But if we have anything pending, then that would be left to the next week. But inshallah, we'll try our best to cover the full category of the last category from the primary heirs, and that were sibling. So under siblings, of course, we mentioned full sister, paternal sisters, maternal brothers, and maternal sisters. So from the original 8 females and 4 males, these are the total total amount of primary heirs, the 12. We have these 3, 1, 2, 3. So these 3 females left. That means we've already discussed 5, and we have 1 male heir of the primary heir left. So that means we've already discussed father, we have already discussed grandfather, we have already discussed husband, and that leaves us with just maternal brother. So inshallah, that what we'll be covering. There are other names that are used to describe these. So the sibling category is of 3 types. So that's how it's generally known, if besides these English names. So Banu al-A'yan, so these are siblings having the same father and mother. So they're called the full siblings. And then Banu al-Allat, there are those siblings that are sharing the same father, and they are known as agnate siblings or paternal siblings. In simple words, just paternal brothers or paternal siblings. And then Banu al-Akhyaf are those siblings sharing the same mother. They are known as uterine siblings or maternal half siblings. So these are other terms basically to explain this right here. And that is just extra information that I thought would be useful. So inshallah, now we begin with the full sisters here, and all of its details, inshallah, will be followed by, examples. So hopefully, we don't get lost as we're going along. So full sisters, they will inherit in the absence of. Now, this is important. The reason why I indicated this in a different color to explain. So they will only inherit in the absence of son and a grandson. And so the grandson is basically son, however low in the hierarchy. Nowadays, we don't go that far, or it's not possible that, we see such, everybody marries late, and, the possibility of seeing that very low, it's very, less. So if son or grandson, doesn't exist, then there's a chance. And also when a father and grandfather, okay, so when these four right here, they don't exist, only then there's a chance of a share being given to full sisters. If any of these four exist, then obviously, the sisters will not get it. Towards the end of their case, we will go over the rule, which will again clarify these four right here. So in the absence, let's say, so the first condition was that they must not exist. Now, if they don't exist, so in the absence of the above, the full sister can either receive. So there's two type of shares that the full sisters are able to receive. They either receive primary shares or they will receive residuary shares. So how does that play out? So scenario of primary share, in how do they receive primary share, in which case? So primary shares can only be received in the absence of the daughter or granddaughter, and there are two cases. Number one, in the presence of one sister. Okay, in the presence of one sister, she will receive nisf, or she will receive 1/2. And in the presence of two or more sisters, then this full sister, or these two full or more than two full sisters, will receive thuluthan. They will receive 2/3. These are very they're basically the same type of share that daughters get, that we've went over last week as well. So they're identical to those share. But remember, if they can only receive in the absence of the daughter. So let's say if there was a daughter and there was a full sister, okay, then obviously this will be eliminated, and then the daughter will take precedence. So these are just step by step. So if full sister comes with a daughter, then it changes the scenario. So that that's something that we should remember as well. Now, we mentioned that they will either receive primary share or residuary share. So what is the scenario of when full sisters are receiving residuary share? So this residuary share can be received in the presence of a full brother or in the presence of a daughter or granddaughter. So now let's look at this. So in the presence of full brother, the full sister will be a residuary heir and will inherit whatever remains in a ratio of 2:1. So the brothers will get 2 shares and the sisters will get 1 share. I know the full sisters and the paternal sisters, they're a little lengthy and it can get a little complicated. But it's just small little details what changed the whole equation. So inshallah, we will go over some examples that will clarify that to us as we move along. So in the presence of a daughter or granddaughter, the full sister will be a residuary heir and will receive entirely whatever remains of the estate. So now this is for extra faida as well, that when a male heir makes a female heir an asaba, both male and female will inherit in the ratio of 2:1. That's something we've went over quite a few times, but that's just again for our reminder that whenever that happens, it will always be لِلذَّكَرِ مِثْلُ حَظِّ الْأُنْثَيَيْنِ, that the male will receive twice the share of the female. And that is the rule that I discussed, that the full sisters are eliminated by the following. So if a son exists, they're eliminated. If a grandson exists, they're eliminated. If a father or grandfather exists, they're eliminated. And then the examples will come, inshallah, as we move along forward. So we begin with the hal number 1 for full sisters. So if a mayyit he leaves behind, so if a mayyit has no father, no grandfather, no son, no paternal son, paternal grandson, and also no akh ayani, meaning no full brother, no daughters, and no paternal granddaughters, no bintul ibn, and has one sister, then that one full sister will get nisf, as we mentioned, under scenario of primary share when it's granted, so will receive nisf. And so dalil for this is, in the last ayah of Surah An-Nisa, that yastaftuna qulillahu yuftikum fil kalala. So in imrun halaka laysa lahu walad. And example for this, hal number one is, let's say Zayd passes away. He leaves behind ukht li abin wa ummin, meaning, a full sibling. So a sister, a full sister. He leaves behind a full sister. Ukht li abin wa ummin, meaning that sister which shares the dad and the mom. And then leaves behind mother, and leaves behind leaves behind uncle. So we just went over that the one full sister, in the absence of all of those above, will receive nisf, will receive 1/2. And the mom here will receive thuluth, because there are no awlad, and in that case, the mom will receive here thuluth. And then will receive leftover, will become asaba binafsihi. So what happens now, nisf and sulus, they're clashing with one another. So we know the masala will be made, the base number will be made from 6. We remember that group 1 and group 2, we've been saying that again and again, how to find that base number. So the nisf of the 6 is basically 3. That's what you see here, 3. And then the thuluth of 6, or 1/3 of 6, is 2. That's what you see here. 3 plus 2 equals 5. And we have just 1 remaining. And remember, asaba binafsihi, the residuary share holder, will receive leftover. And now we have a leftover of 1/6. And that's what they get, 1 share. So then 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. And that's how the equation will be solved. So again, أخت لأب وأم, full sister is here receiving nisf. Hal number 2 is, if a mayyat has no ab, no abul ab, no ibn, and no ibnul ibn, and no akh ayani, and no bint, and no bintul ibn, and has more than one, so has many full sisters, 2 or more, then these full sisters will share thuluthan. They will share a 2/3. فإن كانت اثنتين فلهما الثلثان مما ترك. And now example for that is, let's say Zayd passes away. He leaves behind, remember we said many full sisters, so he leaves behind 5 akhawat li abin wa ummin. Instead of 2, we just went with an extra number. So 5 full sisters. And then he leaves behind So now we already know that 2 sisters or more sisters, they will share a thuluthan. They will receive a 2/3, correct? So now the 2/3 is what we'll see here. But we know that recipients are 5, whereas the share is only 2/3, and we must give each one an equal amount. So if we were to give 1/3 and 1/3, that would only, grant a share to the 2 of the 5 sisters. That leaves us with 3 pending. So obviously that method won't work. So there is an arrangement called tashih. We have to do a step in order for us to basically make the numbers of share greater, so it will compensate for all of the the recipient. So 2/3 and then 1, right? So obviously 1 here is to explain that they were supposed to originally get 1/3. So 2/3 plus 1/3. So that tells us that the original masala was out of 3. So the base number is here 3. That's what we see on top right here. Now, we know that we cannot give everybody equal. So we take this 5 sisters and we multiply it by that 3, the original share. So we get a number called, this arrangement is called tashih, and we end up with an equal of 15. So now 15 shares, if we are to divide that, then in that case, we are able to grant everybody equal amount of shares. So now, instead of 2/3 of just 3, to the 2 sisters, they will now receive 2/3 of 15. So what will happen is they were getting 2 shares, you just times that by 5 and you get a 10. Or in other words, 2/3 of 15 is 10. And now on the bottom, you will see that each sister will receive 2 shares. And in that case, all sisters will get equal amount of shares. And now when you subtract 10 from the 15, you are left with 5. And that's what we have here. We know that uncle was getting originally 1. So you just times that here again by 5, by the 5 sisters, you're left with 5. In other words, the leftover or 1/3 of the 15 is 5, and that's what the uncle is receiving right here. So then 5 plus 10 equals 15, and that's what you see with the sihhu min 15. Hopefully that that just refreshes the dust from last time as well. It's very simple, and that only applies when the share is basically such that the recipients are greater and are more than the share. Then you will always do arrangements and you will do multiplication in order for you to basically get a number that will be equally shared. Now, hal number 3 for full sister was that if a mayyat has full sisters, no father, no abul ab, no grandfather, no ibn, and no ibn al-ibn, and full brothers, akh ayani, then these full sisters will be asaba bil ghayr. Now let's look at this. Zayd, let's say Zayd passes away, leaves behind 4 full sisters. 4 full sisters, أخت لأب وأم, and leaves behind 1 full brother, أخ لأب وأم. Now, if that is the case, we already know the note that we went over a couple slides back, that when that happened, they will be in the ratio of 2 to 1, correct? So now we always, and we remember the dars, the rule from last dars as well, that the boy will be counted 2 heads. So is 1, so we'll count that as 2 right here. And then the 4 sisters, they're both getting leftovers, right? So the sisters will be counted as single heads. So there are 4 of them. So 4 right here plus 2 equals 6, and that's what the masala would be. Originally, the masala in this case, I didn't write it here, but if you were to just go down to even basic, so the aslul masala should have been from 1, wa tasihhu min sitta. So there is also an arrangement made here because we have to assume the boy as 2 heads. But just to simplify, 1 boy equals 2 shares and 4 sisters equals 4. So 2 plus 4 equals 6, and that's just in simple words to understand that. Now, hal number 4 for full sister was if a mayyat has paternal granddaughters and has no father, no grandfather, no ibn, and no ibn al-ibn, and no, remember, no full brother as well, and has bint or paternal granddaughters or bintul ibn. Then these full sisters, remember we're discussing the hal of full sisters, will become asaba ma'al ghayr, will also become residuary shareholder. So now let's look at this example. Zayd passed away. Okay, Zayd leaves behind 1 daughter and leaves behind 1 full sister. So now, in that case, we already remember that bint gets nisf. 1 daughter gets nisf right here. So that's what the share 1 is given, okay? And ukht li abin wa ummin becomes asaba ma'a ghayrihi, so becomes, residuary shareholder, and will get, in this case scenario, leftover. And leftover of 2 would be, so the masala is made from adad al-ru'us here, so that's what you see here, 2. And so 1/2 of 2 is 1, and then the leftover is 1 again. So 1 plus 1 equals 2, and that's how the masala will be, solved. Now, hal number 5 for full sister, if a mayyat has full sister and has a father or paternal grandfather or son or paternal grandson, or they're more than 1 son or grandson, then in that case, the full sister will be saqit, or will be mahjub, or eliminated, whichever word you want to use. So they will be deprived. Now let's look at this. Zayd, and these were the example that were mentioned earlier. See example. So now Zayd passes away, leaves behind ukht li abin wa ummin, so leaves behind 1 full sister, and leaves behind ibn. So Zayd leaves behind a son. Now this son is asaba binafsihi, now will receive the entire wealth or the entire estate. Now this ukht li abin wa ummin will not get anything, will be mahrum and gets nothing. So the masla would be made from one and the ibn is taking it all. Another example to look at is, let's say Zayd, he passes away, leaves behind ukht li abin wa ummin, and leaves behind ab now. So Zayd leaves behind his father. Now, same thing. Remember here, so if a father is there or a son is there, they will, make the full sister mahrum, and that's what's happening in the example. So ab is there, asaba is also asaba binafsihi. Now we'll get the leftover, and the masala would be from one, and the asaba binafsihi will get everything, the entire estate, and ukht li abin wa ummin is once again mahrum and gets nothing. So this is the fifth case for the full sisters. Now, inshallah, we move on to the second type from the sibling, which is paternal half-sister. So paternal half-sister of the deceased, from the father, and the paternal sister has 6 cases. So I mentioned 6 here, and the 7th one in the end is deprived. So a lot of time we may come across, someone mentioning 7 cases, just to simplify and to make us understand better. It's just we've organized it in this way. So paternal half-sister will receive 1/2 in the presence of one paternal sister. So if it's one, she will receive 1/2. These are very identical again, but remember, there are factors. If there are greater or closer recipient available, then these further away gets eliminated. And 2/3 in the presence of 2 or more paternal sisters. Now, again, this to remember. So the 2 above cases will only exist in the absence of the full sisters, as well as daughter and granddaughter. So if we're even getting that far to paternal half-sister, or that's, a paternal half-sister happens to exist, then it's necessary that the absence of full sister must be there, and as well as daughter and granddaughter must be there in order for them to receive these shares, if we're talking of 1 or 2. Now 1/6 in the presence of one full sister. Now let's say if one full sister comes with the paternal half-sister, it doesn't make her eliminated, but rather it reduces her share to 1/6 now from 1/2. Because it's just one, paternal sister. So that paternal sister will receive 1/6 to complete 2/3 the total amount designated to sisters in the absence of daughter/granddaughter. So takmilatan lithuluthain is what is called. So the rule is basically you cannot, allow or grant more than 2/3 to the females as a collective or as a combined share. So it will never, exceed 2/3. So the maximum that is allowed is 2/3. So that's what that whole explanation is. Inshallah, as we move along further into this, we will see those in the example. But just remember, if one full sister comes along with one paternal half-sister, then she will receive 1/6. Now, the 4th halat for the paternal half-sister is that in the presence of 2 or more full sisters. Remember, this was only one full sister. So in the case of 2 or more full sisters, then they will not inherit. So these paternal half-sister will not inherit. But except if there exists a paternal half-brother, as he will make her asaba, meaning he will make his paternal half-sister residuary heir. And then this paternal half-sister and her paternal half-brother, they will inherit whatever remains at a ratio of 2 to 1, paternal brother and paternal sister. So paternal brother will receive two shares and paternal sister will receive 1 share. I know this is confusing, but this is, if that happens, that Zayd passes away and leaves more than 2 or a lot of sisters, let's say four full sisters, and leaves behind only 1 half-sister, paternal half-sister, she will be mahrum But if there exists a paternal half brother along with that paternal half sister, then amongst them will always be, للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين, so 2 to 1, the ratio of 2 to 1. And that the fifth one actually explains that, again. So in the presence of a half paternal brother, the half paternal sister will receive residuary share in the ratio of 2 to 1 and will be asaba bil ghayr. And don't worry, inshallah, we'll go over the examples and we'll clarify that. So the sixth halat, or the case for paternal half sister, is that in the presence of a daughter or granddaughter, the paternal half sister will receive residual share entirely, as they, meaning the daughter and granddaughters, will make her asaba. And this was the seventh one I was talking about. So these paternal half sisters will be deprived when the deceased leaves a paternal sister, and remember, and a full brother, and or be a full sister who is asaba, or 2 full sister and no paternal brother, because in the fourth one on the previous slide we just went over, except there exists a paternal half brother, right? So if it's just 2 full sister and no paternal brother, then also these paternal sisters are mahrum. And D, a father or a grandfather or male children. So if that happen, if any of these exist or any of this scenario exists, then these paternal half sisters will be mahrum, will be deprived. And this is rule number 15, that paternal half sisters will be eliminated in the presence of the following. So ibn or ibnul ibn, wa in safwal, and father or father's father. So these terms are basically however high or however low in the hierarchy. And now a full brother, if a full brother exists with a half paternal sister, she's mahrum, or 2 full sisters in the absence of a paternal half brother. So this is a condition here. If this paternal half brother doesn't exist and the paternal half sister comes with 2 full sisters, she's mahrum. But if this paternal half brother comes in, then it's hal number 4, as we mentioned on the previous slide. Then would be between them للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين, in the ratio of 2 to 1. So now we'll go over the examples, inshallah, and to understand this. So I will skip all of this because it's just repeating a lot. Let's say has only 1 paternal sister. Then this paternal sister will get nisf, as we mentioned in the beginning for paternal sisters ahwal, that they will receive 1/2 in the absence of all of those above. And that's the dalil, وَلَهُ أُخْتٌ فَلَهَا نِصْفُ مَا تَرَكَ. So the example for that is, let's say Zayd passes away, leaves behind ukht li abin, so paternal half sister, and leaves behind uncle, am. So this half sister we just went over here, that will receive nisf, will go over half, will get 1/2. So the masala here is of 2 again, so 1/2. So the base number is right here. So we get 1 share will be granted to the paternal half sister, and the leftover is we have a 1, and that will be granted to the uncle, will be 1 plus 1 equals 2. Hal number 2 was that if a mayyat has absence of all of these above and has many paternal sisters, then these paternal sisters will share a 2/3, will share thuluthan. As you can see, the pattern is it's same thing. That's 1/2 and 2/3. We mentioned that for daughters. We mentioned that for full sisters. We are here mentioning it for the for the 3rd time here for paternal half sisters. But remember that rule. Any of these come along with another, it changes the equation. But we're saying that if they are all of these above are absent and they're not there, then they will share 2/3. So let's say Zayd passes away, leaves behind 3 paternal half sisters, 3 akhawat li abin, and leaves behind ibn al-am. I know we have not done cousins yet, but let's say ibn al-am, so the son of uncle. So let's say that's left behind. Now we know that ibn al-am is not from primary shareholders. It is from asaba, and it would be asaba binafsihi. And we already know that 2 or more paternal half-sisters will share a thuluthan. So now we have that problem again, that thuluthan, 2/3 are being granted to 3 recipients, which is not likely, it's not possible. So what do? We have the original masala, as you can see, 2/3. So the base number would have been 3 here, and that's the masala right here. Aslul masala is from 3. You times that by these 3 sisters. So you do an arrangement called tashih, to basically make the shares more in order for us to, compensate for everybody. So 3 is the asal al-masala. You times that by 3 akhawat, the 3 paternal half-sisters, and you get 9. So the tashih is of 9. And now instead of 2/3 of 3 being granted to the 3 sisters, now 2/3 of 9 is being granted, and that's what you see here. So 2 times 3 equals 6, and on the bottom you'll see 2 plus 2 plus 2. So now each sister, the 3 paternal half sister, each of them will receive 2 shares. Now the Ibn al-Am was he was originally supposed to receive 1, the leftover, right? Because 2 were given here and 1 was here. Now we times that also by 3, and now instead of 1 being granted, he just receives, the leftover of 9 after the 2/3 have been taken away. So that means 1/3 of 9, and he gets 3. So 3 plus 6 equals 9, and that's what we'll see here. Hal number 3 for paternal sister was that in the absence of all of these above and has 1 full sister, okay? And these paternal sister, then so if let's say these paternal sister, they have 1 full sister come with them, and we went over that they will go over sudus. So this is a little bit, tricky masala. Let's see, Zayd passes away. He leaves behind 1 full sister, ukht ayani, right? And then he leaves behind 2 paternal, half sisters. And we just went over that these paternal sisters, they will share a 1/6, will receive sudus. And then we have 3 uncles, and they will be asaba binafsihi, so they will receive leftover. So we already know that the daughter, always, if it's just 1, a full daughter will receive nisf, and that's what she's getting here, nisf, right? So the asl al-masala would have been 6 because that's the, sudus. So we know that, the base number would be 6. The problem comes now is that we have 1/6. We are trying to give that to 2 paternal half sisters, so we cannot give that equally. And then we have a leftover of 2 right here, and we have 3 uncles, so we cannot equally give that. So again, we do an arrangement called tashih, to where we make the number bigger and the amount of share greater in order for us to compensate for everybody. So what do? We take these 3 a'mams and 2 paternal half sisters. So you see that 2 paternal half sisters right here and 3 uncles right here. You times them, you multiply them in between them. So 2 times 3 equals 6. And now 6 times the aslul masala 6. You will get a number of 36. You get a tashih of 36. So 2 times 3 equals 6 times 6 equals 36. So now if we do that arrangement, now we come down to the ukht a'yaniya. She was receiving nisf. So instead of nisf of 6, she was originally getting 3, right? So now instead of that, what do? You can understand this better here too. 2 for the 2 full paternal half sister and 3 for 3 uncles. So 2 times 3 equals 6 times her original share, which was 3, and she gets 18. Another way to understand this, she is receiving nisf of 36. So she's receiving 1/2 of 36, which is also 18. It's just simple way, whichever way makes sense, or it's easier, so you can understand that. Now so these paternal half sisters, they were receiving sudus. They will share 1/6 as we see here. Now, originally they were getting 1/6 for two sisters, so it didn't work out. Now, instead of getting one share, what do? We do two paternal half sister and three uncles. We times them, we multiply them. So 2 times 3 equals 6, and then times that by 1. So you get a 6. In other words, we get a sixth of sudus of 36, which is also 6 right here. And now we have two paternal half sisters, so each sister will get 3 share and 3 shares. So now so far, what is it? 18 is gone, 3 is gone, and 3. So we have already allotted 24 shares have been given. That leaves us with 12 shares. Now the 3 uncles, they were receiving only 2 shares for 3 recipients, so it wasn't possible. So again, 2 paternal half sisters by 3 uncles, you get a 6. Times that by 2, their original share, you get a 12. In other words, once the sudus and the nisf of 36 has been taken away, you are left with a leftover of 12, which is right here. And now you'll see that each of those those 3 uncles will receive 4 shares each. So 4 plus 4 plus 4. And so 12, and then we have 18 with 12 plus 18, 30, and then plus 6 equals 36. And that's how the whole masala is solved. Hal number 4 for paternal half sister is if Mayyat has no ab, no abul ab, no ibn al ibn, and no full brothers, and has many akhawat a'yaniyat, meaning many full sisters. We already mentioned that if full sisters come with more than 2 full sisters come with paternal half sister, and there doesn't exist a paternal half brother to save her. So as a result, these paternal half sisters will get nothing, because if there happened to be a paternal half brother with these paternal half sisters, then they would have been between them residuary shareholders and would have been in the ratio of 2 to 1. So that doesn't exist. It's just many full sisters existing. In that case, these paternal half sister will get nothing and they will be mahrum. So let's say Zayd passes away, leaves behind ukht li abin, one paternal half sister, and 2 2 full sisters. So 2 ukht li abin wa ummin, and 1 am, so 1 uncle. Now we know that if there's 2 ukht li abin wa ummin, they will share a thuluthan. So thuluthan is already granted, so 2/3, and that 1/3 that is remaining is right here, will get to leftover. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. That's where the masala is. And we know that rule, if ukht li abin, one paternal half sister, come with 2 or more full sisters, then these are eliminated. And that's why ukht li abin, this paternal half sister, is mahrum and will get nothing. Hal number 5 for paternal sister was that if a mayyat has no ab, no abul ab, no ibn al ibn, no full brothers, no full sister, no paternal, and has paternal brothers. That's where that other masala is. And no bint and no bintul ibn, and no paternal granddaughters. So these paternal sisters will be asaba bi ghayrihi, will also be residual heir. So what would happen is, let's say Zayd passes away and leaves behind ukht li abin, so 1 paternal half sister, and leaves behind brothers, akhwan li abin. So what would happen? They would also be asaba binafsihi. Now, and leaves behind So this is a very easy masala. Remember, so there's 2 brothers. Remember, each brother will be counted. There's a ratio of 2 to 1 between them. So 2 brothers will be counted as 2 heads. So 4 between them, and ukht li abin is 1 head counted. So 4 plus 1 equals 5. And we already know she will get sudus here because we've already studied the case for mother. So she will receive 1/6. So 1 plus 4 plus 1 equals 6, and that's where the masala is from, 6 share of the entire estate, whereas in them, the 2 shares for each son here. So they're counted as 2 heads. But the point is that whenever these brothers came with that, they made sure that amongst them they both became asaba, but in this case the daughters, the paternal half sisters became asaba bighayrihi. Remember, these asabat is very interesting, inshallah, and it's very easy. What they are, asaba bighayrihi, binafsihi, and ma ghayrihi, what they are, inshallah, it's we're right around the corner, inshallah. We should be learning that very soon. Now, hal number 6 for paternal half sister was if a mayyat has no ab, no abul ab, no ibn ibn, and no full brother, no full sisters, and no paternal brothers, and has daughters or granddaughters, so has bint or bintul ibn, then these paternal sisters will be asaba ma'al ghayr. So will also be a residuary shareholder, but it will be ma'al ghayr, not binafsihi. Okay, so now let's say Zayd passes away, leaves behind one paternal half sister, and leaves behind granddaughter, paternal granddaughter, bintul ibn, and leaves behind So we know that bintul ibn will receive nisf, and we know that the will receive sudus. So now there's a clash of nisf and sudus. The masala is from 6. We already know that because a lot of times I forget these small details because I just automatically assume that we've went over it enough times. So please excuse me for that if I miss a key point explanation. So masala will be from 6 again. Now we'll see here nisf is granted for the one bintul ibn, so she receives half of 6, so it's 3, and mom will receive 1/6, so she gets 1. So 1 plus 3 equals 4. Now we have a leftover, and these we just went over here up top that if there's a bint or bintul ibn, then they will be asaba, so they will get leftover ma ghayrihi, so whatever is left behind. So 4 it's been taken of 6, so that leaves us with 2, and 4 plus 2 equals 6, and that's how we will solve this masala. Now the last one for paternal half sister was where the paternal half sisters are mahrum, are deprived. So if a mayyat has a father or a paternal grandfather or a son or paternal grandson, or has a full brother or full sisters who have become asaba ma'al ghayr due to daughters. So in that case, these paternal half sisters, they will be mahrum. We went over that even in the rule. So now we see here, we'll go over these examples to clarify that. Now let's look at here. So let's say Zayd passes away, leaves behind ukht li abin, and leaves behind ibn. So from this list, there is a ibn here. So ukht li abin and ibn. Now we know that ibn is asaba and will receive everything. And we know that if ukht li ibn, paternal half sister, comes with any of these above, she will be mahrum, and that's why she is deprived and she will not get her share. Whereas the masala, aslul masala, would be from 1, and the son will take it all. So in this case, the son is basically the cause, of mahrumiyat for the ukht li abin. So his son is the one who deprived the paternal half sister. Now, inshallah, we'll go over the maternal siblings. It's very easy. It's just 2 ahwal and then the mahrumiyat of it. So maternal brothers and sisters, we're gonna go over them as collectively instead of breaking it down. Maternal brothers separately and maternal sisters separately, because they share the same thing. They have the same type of cases. So our siblings of the deceased sharing the same mother but different fathers. So the children of the mother of the deceased will inherit in the same manner without any distinction between male and female. So the maternal siblings has 2 cases. So the maternal siblings will receive 1/6 in the presence of one brother or one maternal sister. So one paternal brother or one maternal sister will receive 1/6, or will receive 1/3 in the presence of 2 or more, meaning they will equally share in that 1/3 if there are more, more than two or two. So this is an important note. So the full brother does not eliminate the maternal siblings. They do, however, eliminate the paternal half-siblings, as we mentioned previously under paternal sisters, that if there happen to be a full brother coming, then they will be, eliminated. But that full brother does not eliminate the maternal sibling, only eliminates the paternal half-siblings. And rule number 16 is that maternal siblings will be eliminated in the presence of the following. So if in a family case, if there's a son or a grandson and there's also maternal siblings, we automatically will understand that, maternal siblings are eliminated. Or there's a father in the equation, then maternal siblings are eliminated. Or a grandfather. Similarly, if there's a daughter or a paternal granddaughter, then maternal siblings are eliminated. They will not receive their share. Now, let's say if Mayyat has one akhiyafi sibling, no full brother, no father, no abul ab, no grandfather, no ibn, no bint, and no ibnul ibn, and no bintul ibn. Then that one maternal sibling will get sudus, as we went over that. So the masala would be example. Let's say Zayd passes away, leaves behind akhli umme, leaves behind one maternal brother, and leaves behind an uncle. So now, in that case, we just went over if it's one maternal brother, he will get a sudus, will get 1/6. So 1/6 is here, and we know that uncle is from amongst the asaba, so he will get the remaining. So 5/6 in this case will be granted to the uncle, and akhli ummin, the maternal half brother, will receive 1/6 of the estate. And that's how the division will be, considering the fact that there doesn't exist any other, heir along the way. If there happen to be more, then obviously we will mention that, and then we will distribute according to their, their share, whatever they get. But in this case, since there's only these two, in this case, the akhli ummin will get sudus, and that's what he's being granted here, one. And there happened to be from amongst asaba, his uncle, and the uncle will receive everything after the 1/6 has been deducted. Now, the second hala that we went over is that if there are more, many akhyafi siblings, meaning many maternal siblings, and no father, no grandfather, no son, no daughter, and no son of son, and no daughter of son. So no bintul ibn and no ibnul ibn. Then those maternal siblings will share thuluth. They will share a 1/3, as we went over this case number 2 in the beginning of maternal siblings ahwal. Let's say Zayd passes away, leaves behind 4 ukht li ummin, leaves behind 4 maternal sisters, and leaves behind uncle. If this was 1, then it would have been very simple. That one would have gotten, that if it's 1, it would have been sudus. So now if it's 2, they will receive, sulus. But here we're running into a problem again. We have to grant 1/3, to 4, which is not possible. So we do again the arrangement called tashih, where we multiply. So the aslul masala was from 3. Okay, so that's what you see here. We times that by 4 maternal siblings, as you see here. So 3 times 4 equals 12, and the tashih is from the 12. Now, instead of receiving thuluth of 3, which was 1, we times that by 4. Now we'll receive the same amount, the thuluth of 12 instead, and now will be 4. So now each of those 4 sisters will receive 1 share, 1 and 1 and 1. So they will share 1. They will all get 1 share equally, and total amount of share for the sisters will be again thuluth, but thuluth of after the tashih has been made, which is 12. And then we know that the asaba binafsihi, they received the leftover. So the uncle in this case was receiving the leftover. So if 1/3 was deducted, we were left with 2/3. So meaning 2 shares were left. So now we have to do the same thing, multiply that by 4, and that is 8, and that's what 8 plus 4 equals 2, which is 12, and that's how the masla will be solved for the maternal siblings. Now the last one is that how the maternal siblings will be deprived. So let's say if a mayyit has maternal siblings and has a father also, or a grandfather, or ibn or daughter, or a ibnul ibn or bintul ibn, okay, or grandson or paternal granddaughters, then in that case these maternal siblings are deprived. Example for that is, let's say Zayd passes away, leaves behind ukht li ummin, and leaves behind ibn. So ibn is right here, so leaves behind maternal sibling, and leaves behind a son. So ibn is asaba binafsihi, will get the leftover. So the asl al-masala would be basically, well, you can do it from 1 2, but the ibn will get everything basically, and ukht li ummin will be deprived and will get nothing. As you'll see here, if any of these exist with the maternal sibling, then the maternal siblings are deprived. Inshallah, with this we end our dars today. I know I went a little bit fast. I just wanted to make sure we covered all of the exercises. So if you have any questions, please email us at questionsfordarulquranfoundation@gmail.com. Inshallah, in our next dars, we will go over the summary of all of the cases that we've studied so far, and we will have practical cases from our own community. So I request you all to please send your masala, meaning your family case, to us if you want, if you want it to be solved, and we'll share it anonymously in our next dars. So if you would like your family, distribution to be solved, inshallah, please, send in your family members detail. I mean, you can just say like 2 brothers. That we don't need names. We just need who are the the survivor in case of someone passing away. How would the family case play out? So if you would like us to help you with that, so please email us on the email mentioned above, and inshallah we will share it in our next dars. So our next dars will be our 8th session, and inshallah we will have the khulasa, the summary of the whole of all the primary heirs, and in the end we will go over the case examples from whatever we receive in the emails, inshallah. So with this, inshallah, we will end our dars. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Barakallahu feek.
Alhamdulillah, jazakallah.